Good morning, folks. It's Bob out here at Sorrento Hill. It is kind of serene today, you know, but here it is Saturday morning, and and this is what we've got out here. Excuse me, and it's got me kind of choked up a little bit because Thursday I was out here working in short sleeve shirt. Yesterday I was working in I think flannel shirt. I think I had my sweatshirt on. No, I didn't have my sweatshirt on. And today, Saturday, it got cold last night, and we got snow, and it's cold out here, which really sucks because one of the things that about cordwood is, I was making pretty good progress. I'm working on, you can see there above the door, and I'm about halfway done above the door, but I had to stop because my cordwood, the mortar in it needs 5 to 7 days before it can before it's set up and cured enough to be able to handle the cold temperatures. So uh, I had to stop because otherwise I'd be putting my mortar at risk. It'll instead of curing, if you can't protect it from the cold temperatures. Now I can cover it when it's down around freezing, upper 30, upper 20s to just right around freezing. I can put a tarp over it and protect it. But when it gets down into the low 20s, which tonight it's supposed to be down to 22, unless you've got some way to keep it heated up, that's not going to work. So that kind of puts me at a stopping point. And with the way the temperatures are, I won't be able to do cordwood safely until end of next week. And that's when I'll work on getting this finished up above the door. And hopefully I'll have a window to continue on to work on this side beside the door. But yeah, my opportunities for the next several months are going to be slim on doing cordwood. So in the meantime, I'll do some things around here. I'll have to work on building up my soil, putting my compost and everything in there, rake leaves to put in to build up more compost, get me a window where it's a little warmer, and I'll finish up the peeling bark off logs and go out in the woods and cut some more logs because I'm going to need some more, a lot more. And then what I've done over the past couple days since since I was getting cold temperatures is I came in here and above the kitchen window I put this box, and then I've got another one uh, above this window. You can't even see the center post because the brightness is wiping it out. And then today I'm going to work on putting the beam across this opening where the door is, and depending upon how I feel with the cold weather, why I'll work on building that window box. I've got the materials to do it, so I've been waiting for that for the colder weather. Something to do when it gets cold out. So now it's cold. I got to be doing that stuff. So another thing I'll be working on is man, I tell you, that cold wind just is blowing in these windows like crazy. So I've got me some wood putty. I've got some little places I've got to patch and repair in my window boxes. So as it gets warms up during the day, and I've got a window for that, I'll work on these window boxes. I'll get them sanded, get any little divots or holes repaired, get them sanded and painted, and then start putting my windows in. Um, that'll go a long way to put the windows in to keep this cold air from blowing in. And then I'll buy my windows to start putting in up top, and then put them down below again. That'll keep some of this cold wind from blowing in, and then I can put tarps across the rest of it to keep me a little warmer inside here as I continue to work, because I'm also going to finish my plumbing rough in, and then I guess I'll just once I get all that stuff done, it'll just be work on putting fence in, work on clearing out some stuff I want to clear out. But one of the things about cordwood is that it requires temperatures above freezing for, like I said, are right around or preferably above freezing for 5 to 7 days after you first do the cordwood, to allow that mortar to set. Otherwise, it's gonna flake and fall apart on you, and that's definitely not a good situation. So that's one of the things about building a cordwood house, and I guess I wasn't really, I guess I hadn't really factored that in well enough, but because I was determined we're going to do a cordwood home, because we just really like the look, and it's something you can build yourself. But one of the things, if you're considering, if you've been watching these videos and thinking, wow, that's really pretty, I think I'll do a cordwood home. One thing to think about is this: you can knock together, even doing it by yourself. It's perfectly doable for even for one person to, to build a stick built home, or have someone put up a pole barn for you. I mean, even if you have to have somebody else do the foundation for you, if you're doing a slab, that's something hard to do by yourself. But even if you have someone come in and put in a slab and a pole barn for you, and then finish it out inside, that's you can do that by yourself, 6 months to a year, even doing that by yourself. Even building a regular stick built home, you can do that probably 6 months to a year by yourself. It took me a while to get all the footers done and get my piers done, and then putting these timbers up on it. A lot of those timbers, probably the first, about half of those timbers, I put up while I was still working. And I would get home from work at 4:00, 4:30 in the morning, and sip a cup of coffee while waiting for the sun to come up enough to be able to get out there and work on it. And I'd basically get one timber put up on a pier, and then prepare the next day's timber, and then have to go in and get some sleep before I had to be back at work. So that really slowed things down, and but got the frame built up, and then by that time, of course, was off because of the COVID layoffs, and then my job downsized, and I ended up unemployed. So that gave me lots of time to work. So getting the flooring in, just putting all those floor joists in, getting the flooring laid, that kind of stuff. It takes a few days to do, but it's not insurmountable to do by yourself. But the thing that's a really, really time consuming is the cordwood, because you have to go out to the woods and cut down the trees. Then you have to strip the bark off of them, and then you have to let them dry, and then you have to let them trim them, and then it's a matter of laying the cordwood in, which on an 8-foot wall on a good day, when I hit it first thing in the morning and I'm able to work all day, um, then I can do about 2 foot vertically vertical height. I can get about 2 feet uh, of an 8-foot wide wall done in one day. So if it's 8 foot tall, that's going to be a minimum of 4 days. I don't always manage to get 2 feet of it done, so it takes a while. So if you're got an idea, I want to build a cordwood home. One of the things that you'll find if you like check out the Cordwood Construction Facebook group that Richard Flatow moderates, um, you'll see that a lot of people, when the fall, especially living in the northern climates, when it gets to the area where they're going to start getting freezing weather, they just they close it in, tarp it off, close it in, and say, "Well, I'll be back in the spring," because the likelihood of getting enough of a window to do cordwood isn't very good. And like I said, hit it hard in the morning and work it all day by yourself. I'll be doing good to get 2 foot vertically of an 8 foot wide wall done in a day. And one of the things that I've been facing here lately, um, my wife's been having some health issues, so I've had to do some running back and forth with her to doctors, which takes up a lot of time. Um, and I hurt my back again, and so I haven't been able to do as much in a day as I was a year ago because I'm still battling with my back. So I go as long as I can, and then that's it. But it's beautiful though. The cordwood is beautiful. It just fits in this environment beautifully. Um, and I'm glad we're doing cordwood. But just be aware, most of the people that are doing a cordwood home, from a time that they probably spend 2 or 3 years making plans before they get started. And then from a time that they get the foundation set down until they've got all their exterior walls up and ready to start working on inside, it's probably going to be, um, depending upon how far north you are and how soon you start getting cold weather, it's probably going to be at least 2 to 3 years uh, before they have all their walls up, because with it being the masonry, it really slows you down, because there's times of the year you just absolutely can't put mortar in. Um, if you're building stick built, and it's, as long as you got your foundation up and it's down in the 20s, you can use a hammer and nail. Now, one issue that I do have is when it gets down too cold, my air compressor won't work. So, I couldn't use my good old pneumatic nail guns down when the temperature's down in the 20s and the teens. But you could still press on if you're doing a regular stick built home. Whereas with this cordwood and the masonry, um, cold weather puts you to a stop. So that's where we are. I just thought I'd share with you what the weather's doing to us. Um, but people have talked about, well, you could always just go ahead and put up some plywood and insulation and put up some temporary walls. And I thought about it, and I thought, man, that's a lot of money. Plywood's expensive these days. Uh, 2x4s have come down in price. Your dimensional lumber has come way down in price, which is really, really nice. But your panel products are still pretty expensive. And yeah, I could throw some temporary walls and insulation up and be able to get in here. But then when the weather warms up, I gotta figure out how to partition that off, pull that wall down and partition it off keep the elements out from the inside while I build walls. Because again, it'll take me by myself. It takes about uh, all said and done. Like I said, I can do on a good hard day of cordwood. I can do about 2 vertical feet of a wall by myself. But I'm going to end up spending a day um, getting logs ready to go. You know, by the time I check logs for dryness, pull them out of the kiln, get them, get the ends trimmed up, and get them ready to go. That'll take me a good day to get enough logs ready to do cordwood for 2 or 3 more days. And then, of course, you've got to keep replenishing what's in the kiln. So you've got to either go out and cut logs, or you've got to strip bark off logs that you cut to keep cycling materials into the kiln to get it dried. And that's another thing that's a big advantage for me in what I'm doing here. That's a huge advantage, because if you don't have a kiln to dry your logs, what you deal with by not having a kiln is that it'll take, depending upon the temperatures, a good year to 2 years for that wood to dry out sufficiently to be able to use it. So, and that's another thing that comes in for a lot of people. You got to, if you're going to be planning on building, if you're thinking about building a cordwood home next year, you need to be out this year cutting your logs down. And I was behind the 8 ball, behind the power curve on doing that. So that's something that you have to do. And I thought I'd come out here and walk around till my hand gets too cold. But when you look at how beautiful the place is and how it just fits in the environment so nicely, it's definitely worth it. And and the woods are beautiful with all the snow. I mean, it's just a light dusting. We got about an inch. And you'd think from hearing people talk that it's snowmageddon, but when you aren't used to it, it almost feels that way. So one of the things I'll be doing, I got my compost pile over here, and I'm going to clear a bunch of these branches and the like out. I've been letting those just sit there, and that's just stuff that I've had to cut down and trim, and what I've been doing is just piling it up there, because I'm going to either do raised beds or hugelkultur mounds for the garden. And I'll be using my compost to help build those up. But one of the reasons why I'll be doing that is they're up higher. You don't have to bend down to work on them. So I'll work on that. Whew. I don't know if that shows up on here or not, but the wind's blowing through the trees, and it's blowing some of that snow off. And I just saw something here this is one of the things that's a real concern if you live out in the woods. Okay. And let me turn this thing around. See that tree in the middle of the picture that's leaning real bad? That tree was not like that 2 days ago. It was not like that 2 days ago. And yeah, and you can see down at the root, I can see on the one side where it's heaved up. So I got a tree that's starting to uproot, and it's a dead one, I believe. But you see how that's leaning. Fortunately, that's leaning away from the house, but that's when I'm going to have to deal with that. And that's one part of the reason why we've trimmed so many trees away from the house is it's not that deep down here to the hard pan. And with it, and so the trees have fairly shallow roots compared to what they would most any other place. So I've got one here that I'm going to have to cut down. It was it never grew any leaves on it last year. It was killed off by the work that was done to put the septic system in, and that's probably 20 feet away from the house, if that. So I'm going to have to cut that one down, and that's one of the things you have to be aware of out here in the woods. I hate cutting all these trees down, but we've got some of them that have got a lean that we're leaning towards the house, so we decided those are going to have to go. Again, that's my garden area. I'll be cutting down that tree right there and several of these smaller ones here to expand the garden area. Again, I hate doing that, but you kind of need some space so you can garden. All right. Well, I guess that'll be enough for today. We'll put this together, see if we can get that out to you. Just walking around here, and my list of things to do just got longer, and my ears are getting cold because I can't find my Elmer Fudd hat. It's one of the things that's bad about living in the RV is sometimes you've got so little place to store things that sometimes they can get lost in the shuffle. Now, according to my thermometer here on the outside of the kiln, it's actually above freezing, but it's kind of gloomy and cold out here. Nothing's thawing, that's for sure. All right, that's enough rambling. Just want to catch you up to date on what's going on, and progress is going to really be slowed down because of the temperatures, and I didn't get as much done while it was hot as I was hoping to do, and this kind of snuck up on us. Like I said, here you are Thursday working in a short sleeve shirt, Friday working in a flannel shirt, and then today I'm out here in my Carhartt and thinking I should have something underneath it. But it sure looks pretty, I think, and I sure can't wait until we are able to get this thing done so we can get moved in. And we'll stay nice and busy. Got plenty to do, and I'll include you in on some of the goings on, like when I start getting windows put in, and as I'm doing my plumbing. I think putting the plumbing in is something that might interest some people. And a lot of times you're afraid to do things like that because, well, I've never done that before. But it's not that hard to learn. You can learn from other people. You can learn from the manufacturer. You can learn from videos on YouTube. You can learn from books. But you can learn how to do this stuff. Just don't let the fact that you haven't done it before get in your head and get you thinking, well, I've never done it before and I want to make sure it's right, because you can do it right. You can learn the right way to do it and do it right and save yourself a ton of money and trade your time and your sweat and your toil for writing a paycheck to somebody else. So you can write that check to yourself instead. And it's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding. So don't be intimidated by it. Don't be afraid. If you've got any kind of mechanical aptitude at all, you can learn to do this stuff. Don't be afraid to try it. Get out there and do something. And it's very satisfying, very rewarding. And you might just find you like it. All right, this is Bob. I'm going to get out of this cold. We'll talk to you next time. Bye now.